Hello and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament Weekly Cast. This is Nightcat. I will be your host for this week, and starting us off, we have Locutus, spawning as the brown Protoss in the top left of Tau Cross, going up against Mad Mix P, the teal Protoss down at the bottom here. I'm always excited when I get an opportunity to cast a Mad Mix game, because it's always just so fun to see what unit combination it's going to pull, as well as if it's able to take over a map. It's just, macro is pretty dang impressive. So, Locutus is going ahead and scouting. It looks like we've already got one gate under construction for Mad Mix. Gate just dropping now for Locutus. Mad Mix is holding back on 8 probes, so it looks like we're gonna see... Oh no, that was not a gateway. It was actually a forge, and going for cannons in the main. So looks like he's going for a rather defensive build, which is pretty interesting, and not even doing it in a way where he's going to get an expansion out of it. I don't think this is going to play, excuse me, pay off very well for Mad Mix P. It seems like every cast, I just have to cough in it. So, let's see, Locutus is going for a Cyber Core, so I wonder if we're going to see a 4-gate here. We'll see if he goes for an expansion or if we see a sudden explosion of gateways from him. We do have a gateway now under construction for Mad Mix P. Mad Mix P has found Locutus. Locutus has found Mad Mix P, I believe. The scout gonna go and see if he can get in and see anything. Able to get past. Very nice. The Zealots got pulled out, sees what's going on. Gonna go ahead and back out now. Locutus was for a moment there saving up some money. Is getting a gateway, so we're just gonna go up to 2 gates. Up now we're getting we're getting 3 gateways under construction, so this does looking like a 4-gate. Mad Mix P going ahead and getting another cannon here, so he has protection, I guess, from Dark Templar is what that's for. But I think a 4-gate is gonna be able to break this, because Mad Mix is just not really going to have the unit production, and instead, okay, I thought that was, he's going ahead and getting a lone cannon that's not only going to be able to be supported by units, really, against Dragoons up at the front. So Locutus is going to go ahead and move out now that the first wave of Dragoons is finishing up. Maybe a little bit earlier than I'd like to see with a 4-gate, but I think it's not really going to matter too much in the end here. Although the first wave is going to arrive mostly together here. So nice 2-gate, 2 Zealot, or 2 Goon, 2 Zealot against 2 Goons and 1 Zealot, but now the first wave is here together. The Goons try to retreat to the safety of the cannons, but seem to be unable to really get that protection, and now the 2 cannons that were rather exposed are down. The Robo facility is down, but now the Dragoons are going to happily engage the cannons, take those down. Mad Mix P has the 3 Dragoons, could have maybe helped support the cannons with them, but they're just refusing to engage, even though the base is being destroyed. And because of the overlay, it's a little hard to see that, but they were dancing essentially over here, while the Dragoons were just tearing apart the base. And that's something that you'll oftentimes see happen with bots, is that they will have some type of heuristic that they're using, or like simulation, to determine if they can win a battle or not. And if they feel that they can't win it, their troops will kind of retreat on the edge of the enemy units, just outside of range, but still able to kind of assess the situation and see what's going on. And what will happen a lot of times is that they will decide that, hey, we can't win this fight, so we're going to go ahead and back off, even though essentially they should just try to fight anyway, because their base is falling apart without their support. Could have maybe taken out a few more Goons had they engaged with the cannons, but Locutus able to take the win there, so let's go ahead and hop into our next game. In game number 2 of today, we have Cherry Pie from the 2017 submission going up against Chris Cokes, spawning as the teal Zerg down at the bottom right of Andromeda, and Cherry Pie is on the top left as the purple Zerg. So Cherry Pie, definitely a very cool bot from Facebook, has not really been entered in a lot of tournaments lately, mainly due to the fact that a lot of tournaments have a rule where an author can only be a part of one submission. And Cherry Pie has multiple authors at Facebook. Obviously, they're a company that worked on it, so they have multiple employees that have worked. And one of those is the author as well of Purple Wave. So if Cherry Pie were to enter, then Purple Wave would not be able to enter tournaments. So it has mostly been Purple Wave that has been being entered into them. Now, it's also possible that there may not be a lot of significant updates to Cherry Pie over time, as, you know, I would expect that they would invest more in it if they were planning on submitting it into a tournament. So here we do have the Zerglings out for Cherry Pie. Gonna go ahead and do the cross scout while expanding. They did scout over to the right with their Overlord. Chris, meanwhile, has scouted in 2 directions with his Overlords, one of which has found nothing. A bit risky here, going with no Zerglings so far, and now getting found, gonna be overwhelmed quickly. I don't know if this is gonna play out for him. Gonna have to pull the drones, gonna lose very few drones, surprisingly. I think he was able to pop a few Zerglings out to help as well. I would have to kind of re-watch that to see how many drones there were actually felled in that fight, but very good worker micro there by Chris Cokes to hold that off. I am impressed, but the Zergling onslaught kind of just keeps on coming from Cherry Pie here, taking out the Zerglings from Chris that tried the venture out. Looks like, I believe, both bots know where each other are at this point based on Overlord scouting. Cherry Pie just continuing to send a stream, able to really keep the stream back close to Chris Cokes though, so they are trading right now, but Cherry Pie keeping the fight either in Chris's base or right outside of his natural. Maybe Chris getting a little too excited here, needs to kind of get some Zergling numbers up a bit before really trying to press out, I think. Going for, it looks like a Spire now, so this really could work in Chris's favor, rather, if he can hold this off, this Zergling stream that keeps coming. Looking like he's trying to, he really needs to spend some on Zerglings though, or else he's going to lose too many drones. But if he can even get just a couple up, okay, he's got 2 Mutalisks going, as well as another drone now. So he's not, the problem is that he was trying to save minerals for those Mutalisks. Gonna lose the drones now. Gotta keep some alive at least. But the Mutalisks are out, and there is no anti-air right now. An immediate evolution chamber down, along with a creep colony. Probably going to get that into a spore. Trying to press a little bit still with the Zerglings, but going to be forced to push back. Chris able to hold on. 12 to 7 drones. Reasonable drone count, but Mutalisks are very expensive to try and get more. So, got to be very careful. Don't want to throw your air away against the spore colonies when they're so expensive to make, because now you're just getting drones, and the Zerglings are just going to be able to start flooding again, and now you can't mine minerals. So, that was very unfortunate to see those Mutalisks kind of just get thrown away there. Really could have kept them back and just kept Zerglings out of your base. Or hunted down any packs of Zerglings that happen to be out near your natural, so that way you can then go ahead and, oh, and the gas is down now, so no more gas, but does have almost 700 banked, but just no minerals to make anything with at this point. We'll go ahead and speed it up a bit. Now it's down to the last 2 Zerglings and the stream now to go ahead and clean up. So very risky play there by Chris. It looked like it was going to pay off. He did get the Mutalisk out, and then that would have stopped Cherry Pie from being aggressive altogether, but unfortunately he threw the Mutalisks away into the 1 spore colony at the natural. Well, now there's a second one, there was only one there at the time, and so gave the game to Cherry Pie for that. And for our next game, we have Prism Cactus spawning as the purple Protoss in the top left of Jade, going up against Yuan Heng Zhu, the teal Protoss down in the bottom right. These, actually, the first 3 games here today are sourced off of the Basil ladder, which we have in the past occasionally sourced games from. I may start to source games from it a little heavier for these casts, because recently they made some changes to the matchmaking, as well as they actually put ranks out on the ladder, so that way it's not just pure ELO scores. But also with these changes, they have reactivated some bots that were disabled on Basil but active on SSCAIT. Oh, and on Hangzhou there, getting very excited about a mineral field and a geyser. But yeah, so building a pylon. Yeah, okay, that was hard to see because the mini-map, it was just swarmed by purple there. But Yuan Hang there did build a pylon. I believe he is a cannon bot, so getting another couple of pylons here. But as I was saying about the Basil, so they enabled some bots that had been disabled on Basil but were active on SSCAIT. And they've also enabled some bots that were disabled on SSCAIT. So there's some bots that have not really been seen in casts for a while, so I'm trying to grab some games from Basil to kind of show those bots off. One of which is my favorite, well, not my favorite, but is the nuke bot Hans Bredberg, which is just always a treat to see nukes happen in games, whether it be a bot game or a human game. They're always exciting. So that aside, we have a Forge first opening from Prism. Not taking the expansion, perhaps recognizing the cannon rush, and then going to go ahead and get some troops. Meanwhile, Yuan Heng is going to go ahead and continue up. Going to build some cannons and then continue to throw probes into the cannons here. I know that Zhu does eventually transition into Zealots, or at least I believe he does, so we'll go ahead and just speed this up a little bit while Prism Cactus goes ahead, gets his natural up, gets 3 gateways right now, getting a 4th one, getting a Citadel of Adun, I believe that is, Observatory. So just going to go ahead and tech, getting a 3rd base down in the bottom left as well. Able to get that probe there. It's a pretty safe path from the cannons, as long as it doesn't stray too far forward. Gonna try and shuttle Reaver the cannons for some reason, which is just kind of funny to see. Using some observers and some units to the cannons, but really doesn't matter all that much. Zhu just keeping himself to 8 to 9 workers. And how many of them are actually mining is a very good question here. Prism Cactus is feeling 66% good about this situation here. And now going to go ahead and move forward to take out the cannons here. Just some units doing some good damage though. Should be able to now, with another round of production finished, push forward. Did get a fleet beacon as well, and now has carriers out, which is a pretty interesting unit combination. So we've got Dark Templar, High Templars, Zealots, Dragoons, and Carriers, and Reavers. Oh my, it's a little bit of everything. Did get an expansion down at the bottom left that I almost didn't see. Now going to slowly push ahead. So Zhu might not get be the bot then that gets... I thought both of basically the cannon bots did go ahead and eventually get a gateway or two for some Zealots to then spam into the opponent's base, but I may have been wrong with that, and for that, Prism Cactus will go ahead and take the win. And for our next game here, we have Toothpick Cactus spawning as the Teal Terran in the top left of Empire of the Sun, going up against Gooey Bot spawning as the Blue Protoss down in the bottom left. So I believe I did not mention in the last game where you can actually look at the Basil ladder to see the ratings and or look at games off of it. It can be accessed at Basil, that's BASIL.bytekeeper, BYTEKEEPR.org. So you can go there and check out all of the bots that are on that particular ladder. You can see some of the scores on the SSCAIT website. That's what is used to display the ELO. Since the Basil ladder does not have user voting to perhaps stack a particular bot's ELO if it is your favorite, constantly putting it up against bots that you know it will win and beat, such as my own. So, to this game here, we do have a 1 factory going with a refinery here. So against TVP, you typically do see some type of mech play, so don't know if I really like that barracks placement, though I guess you could squeeze a marine in there and potentially be safe from zealots. It looks like we're going to go ahead and put our marines near the choke point here. And we do have this dancing probe. It's going to go ahead and just make sure that no units are coming out, no aggression. Meanwhile, going to go ahead and harass the scout and get that out of our base, please. Thank you. We do have one gate core, which is pretty typical to see. We do have a decent number of marines here, 5, while the machine shop is building. So did not see a vulture come out yet, so I'm expecting we're going to see some type of tank play. And no, we are getting mines, okay, and we're getting a second factory, so we're going to see some type of early aggression here, I imagine, from Toothpick Cactus with the 2 factories and the resumed production of the marines. Now this dragoon is going to come up here and probably poke in and see the larger marine count, or that was a wrong way to run, GUIBot. And the dragoon is down. So that was a bit unfortunate. It saw the number of opening done, mined mid-game active. It's feeling 27% good about this. And here is the push out. So I am liking this. Oh, nope, never mind. This was just a move to the natural to take that. So a bit passive play for the 2 factories here. I expected these, especially with the large number of marines, I was hoping that we would see some type of early rush against, and scouting with a probe that was holding some Vespene gas, not a very good thing. Vespene can be highly volatile, as we saw that probe explode very quickly, and this dragoon wanting to retreat because it can't handle the 2 vultures alone, but just leaving itself in a position to just get picked apart by the vultures. And here we see the marines and the tank come out. So Toothpick Cactus going for its push here. Laying down some spider mines, which is nice to see, chasing down this dragoon. And now Toothpick Cactus doing a little dance with marines, thinking about pulling back here. Looks like it is mining up various expansions with its vultures, just to keep an eye on the situation. Meanwhile, we do have a robotic support bay, so I think we've probably got some reavers, although this is just an empty shuttle, it looks like, currently. Bit of a conga line here in the low ground, but gonna go ahead and retreat back to the natural. Now we've got the siege mode out, we've got wraiths, we've got the dragoons engaging with the marine army here. Going ahead and pushing into the main, maybe gonna be able to snipe this tank, but now we do have a reaver in play. Taking heavy losses though on the dragoons, and I don't really see reinforcements on the way, so Toothpick Cactus able to repel that attack. And now has the wraiths and the Goliaths to be able to deal with the shuttles, meanwhile getting a third all the way in the top right main. GUIBot completely unaware of it, going ahead and taking his third on the low ground here between them, expanding towards the Terran. You'd probably prefer to see the Protoss expand away from the Terran and the Terran expand toward the Protoss, but we're getting quite the opposite from both of these here. Now a rather forward factory being placed by Toothpick Cactus, going to go ahead and remine that lower expansion and push into the third of GUIBot, but the tank's just not really in position for the push just yet, but the Vulture is able to run back. GUIBot with the high ground now, going to go ahead and should be able to repel this, forcing the fallback. I did like the SCVs that were there for the repair, but they really didn't get to repair, unfortunately. Gonna go ahead and leave those 2 tanks there Though that one was on the high ground, so it did have a little bit of an advantage, but with no unit support, gonna just go ahead and fall. Gooeybot doing another push here, but I don't know if the reinforcements are gonna be enough to take this out, and Toothpick Cactus able to hold this back. One tank left standing, which happens to be just enough. Now we've got a new fresh line of tanks coming out. Gonna go ahead and push back down this left side here of the map. Gooeybot taking a fourth now over at the natural of the bottom right's main. Using some of that high ground to its advantage while the tanks are on the low ground. Nice defense matrix there. Gonna get that tank a little bit more time, but still gonna fall in the end. Just nice army control essential by both so far, I think. Toothpick Cactus looks like has discovered that bottom left base and going ahead and sending a group of Goliaths to go ahead and take it out while the tanks are engaged with the main Protoss army here in the middle. These Goliaths gonna go ahead and clean this up. There's no cannons to take them out. Nice repair, although now the Gooeybot able to loop around the back. Both bots floating a lot of minerals at this point, have a lot of room for additional macro. More factories at the top right for Toothpick Cactus. Protoss army kind of just in groups trying to hunt down the, that's kind of funny, the Zealots were chasing along with the Archon. What? Is shooting this Archon. Oh, there was a Wraith that was cloaked but above the Zealots. I just did not see that, so I was very confused there for a minute. Hard to say. I think right now Gooeybot more controls the middle, but there's just a lot of spread out action going on right now, which is something that's great to see with these bot games. Where just both have a pretty sizable army, but it's just all kind of spread out, and it's hard to really judge who's winning sometimes. But it looks like Toothpick Cactus is slowly taking the middle back over. A lot of fighting down here towards the bottom. It's Toothpick expanding across the rest of the map essentially, but gonna go ahead and lose this bottom right here. Lifts it to save the command center from the Zealots, but the Zealots are just sitting there, I think, or no, they left, so now he's gonna go ahead and re-land. Gooeybot taking a more of a presence in the middle of the map again. Toothpick Cactus spending his minerals a bit more efficiently at this point with the additional factories that he added in the top right. But Gooeybot just building up a bank because he's maxed out essentially. He's at constantly at 199 right now, of 200. And I think right now Gooeybot is just firmly in control. I'm gonna go ahead and now just trying to take out these right side bases. Toothpick Cactus just not getting the large army that it needs to confront this 200 Protoss force. Sending tanks just to their doom at the Dragoon firing squad, it looks like. Finally, one siege is up, but Gooeybot gonna be able to take out the tank. There's nothing there to support it. Meanwhile, there's a force over here to the right, forcing this base to go down. There are Reavers cleaning up that base. Here at the top right lower ground section, so I think Gooeybot's gonna end up taking this one, but it's just gonna take still a bit of scrappy fighting to ultimately command center for trying to float back, trying to be like, oh, I want this base, until it blows up. So SCV transfer, just barely getting by, trying to get some repairs on the SCVs as well, because they have taken some hits here, but Toothpick Cactus just very low on money, saving some money at its natural, it looks like, I guess, because it didn't really fully mine that out. And irradiate on the Protoss, which is something you don't see every day. Now the science vessels are picked off. And at this point, the army is now in the natural. Toothpick just does not have the economy to pump out the units like it needs to. This tank's gonna get a little bit of work in, but ultimately 1 kill, 2 kills. Now the Zealots are up on it. And so this game's gonna go, I think, for GUIBot in the end. Toothpick Cactus announcing he's 35% good about this as his main is being eliminated and his upper right expansions are being taken out. So good game by both bots here. Toothpick definitely had some opportunities there, and he goes ahead and taps out. Toothpick definitely had some opportunities there with the pushing that he was doing, but just could not get a strong coordinated push. And then once GUIBot got to around the 200 mark, Toothpick just could never amass an army to really contend with that, and kept just kind of throwing units into the middle. Granted, he was trying to get to the expansions on the other side of the map to protect them, but just in the end, just kept bleeding units, and GUIBot able to capitalize, keeping his supply up near the max and just overtake the Terran. For our next game here, we have Xiao Yi from the COG 2019 lineup from that tournament, spawning as the brown Terran in the bottom of Python, going up against Crazio, Protoss version, spawning as the orange Protoss at the top right of Python. So we had a very quick probe scout here by Crazio. So I went ahead and slowed it down just a little bit so that we could get the introductions out of the way in case there were any cheeses about to happen from Crazio. But it looks like we're getting some relatively standard fare. The probe is backing off. Back to the main. Meanwhile, a in-base main pylon was built. Now this pylon is going back out, so I wonder if maybe we will still see something. It's been a little bit since I've seen a Protoss Crazio game. So nope, looks like he's just going to go ahead and sit. Oh, he is building a pylon out here, so... And we've got a forge, so it looks like this will be a bit of a cannon contain, it looks like. We'll see how Yi deals with that. And we have the first cannon down, the second cannon down, and Yi is aware of what is going on and has at least one SCV. Gonna go ahead and attack the cannon, force a cancel on at least the second cannon, but the first one here looks like it's gonna finish. Probe able to take out that SCV since it was just one by itself. And Crazio pretty content with the one cannon for right now. Does get scouted by Yi, so Yi now knows where Crazio is, but gonna go ahead and send the 2 probes back. Maybe? Nope. Okay, they're gonna go ahead back to the main. We do have a gateway now, though, and a cybernetics core going down while there is a factory, so we'll see. Looks like we're getting vultures instead of tanks to deal with the cannons. Probably not the best choice. Would like to see... Would be cool to see some cannons either up on the high ground to deal with the cannons in case any units start to feed in, or you know, sit your marines potentially in front of your tank while your tank deals with cannons, so that way if some zealots come in, or have them right behind and ready and willing to move up and sacrifice themselves for the tanks. But losing all of your marines to the cannons, probably not the best thing. Glad I was able to catch that happening, though. Trying to build a bunker here. Gonna have to cancel it, or it actually gets destroyed, I believe, since there's rubble there. Trying to build a little bit closer now. And lose it. So, maybe not the best decision making here. But really trying to get that bunker for that expansion. Just not able to because of the cannons. Trying to get another bunker there. It's going to go ahead and get destroyed. We do have a Dragoon out now, so kind of like a mobile cannon. Going to cause some havoc. We do have some tanks on the scene now, so they... Oh, and we are starting the command center without getting that bunker, so... Good to see we weren't stuck in a loop, but the SCV building it will go ahead and be taken out. But a new one will come along to go ahead and finish the job. Gonna try and get that bunker again, but now we've got Dark Templar, and I think we just heard some scans, so there may not be enough. There is energy, but there's nothing to fight the Dark Templar even if you do scan. Well, the workers just kind of running out and sacrificing themselves to the Dark Templar. I'm not sure what's up with that. No scans coming out right now. The tank running away. This game seems to be easily won by Crazio here. chasing down that last cannon, or that last tank rather. 57 minerals left. Yeah, not going to be enough to take anything. So well played by Crazio. Just 2 cannons enough to throw Yi's plan, wrench into Yi's plan, and just be able to take the win on Python. Very well played. And just because I'm curious, we've got 0, 16, 8, 5, and where's the last Dark Templar? 0, okay, that's the 16. Oh, and a 10 kill. Okay, some very high kill Dark Templar there. Well played, good game. And for something just a little bit different here, something new, we have a little bit of man versus machine here. This is from the Schnail ladder. As you can see, this is actually a human going with the anonymous username Schnail here, up against an anonymized AI. So what this is Schnail has been talked about before by my fellow co-caster Sanko. It allows you to play against the AIs that are often featured in the casts here with very relative ease. It's a simple installer, and then you can be playing against them in 1.16 Brood War client pretty quickly. You can do both practice games as well as ranked ladder games, and what's nice with the ranked games is that you don't know which AI you're actually up against. So you can't take advantage of the fact that, well, I'm playing against, a bot that I know is a cannon bot, so I'll just go straight to tanks and siege tanks and win my way, or, I'm going up against the Zimp carrier bot. Now, you may recognize them as you play and you see their play styles, but you will not be able to sort of cheese the system, as it were, and very quickly, like from out the gate, be doing a particular strategy. So you can all download the Schnail client at schnail.com. You just have to sign up, and so it's not fully anonymous when you're doing ranked play, and that you do have to put in a username, or you can leave the default Schnail on the website. When looking at replays, people will be able to see, and this is all explained on the website as well, but we'll be able to see who the player is and all that. But when you're just looking at it in game, you just see whatever you put for your in-game name, an anonymous AI. So this could be any player. But this game was recommended to me to cast for this. So we do have the AI here. Looks like we're, just to kind of jump into the game itself, we do have a run-by here of the 1 cannon by the human player Schnail here. Gonna go ahead and take out a probe or 2, but very nice worker defense here by the AI. Able to take out that zealot, but we do have a sneaky 3 gateways here down at the bottom. So looks like we're gonna maybe get another run by here. Yep, we are. 1 and 2, but gonna take some heavy damage, losing all the shields on both of them. Gonna go ahead and try to take out some probes. That probe unfortunately getting stuck there due to the ramp. Again, this is on, I don't think I introduced the map, Fighting Spirit, as you can see. No Python in the middle. And we have the AI as the white Protoss in the top right, along with the human player Schnail down in the bottom left here, red. And so the run by is easily handled, only down behind 1 probe, 2 probes right now. Gonna go ahead and get a second cannon here to try and back this up a little bit better. But we are amassing an army here at the bottom, which the human player Schnail has not found yet. So the AI being a little bit sneaky here. Looks like we are getting a robotics facility here, a pretty forward one. So I'm willing to bet that Schnail is probably thinking that the AI at some point here took this natural and is not going to have the army that it actually is. Looks like, okay, I thought maybe we were going to get some sneaky tech from the AI, but it looks like that's just pylon farm there for supply. And now we have the army moving out. We've got the 2 zealots here going to engage with these. Whoops, and more zealots coming in from Schnail. But we do have the army from the proxy on the move that's going to go ahead and catch the player off guard. These Dragoons just moving into the army. The Schnell now sees this, pulling his Zealots back. Losing a probe there. Gonna lose the natural. Getting a Reaver though, but it's gonna be all the way up here, unable to handle these Zealots. Schnell now scouting, seeing the gateways here, and tapping out with the GG, letting giving the AI the win there. Very well played. Schnell just misreading the game here, which is pretty easy to do. You know, you get a couple walk-ins, you see, okay, these cannons, this gateway, this forge. Okay, my opponent probably taking their natural sometime after that last run by. So I'm gonna go ahead and get Reavers up close, so that way I can very quickly try to bust this, or at least, like, you know, maybe snipe this forge, maybe snipe the gateway, but then getting surprised by the Zealots. A very entertaining game. Let's go ahead and watch another in this man versus machine here. And for our last game of today, we have our anonymous AI spawning as the Red Terran, as I'm staring at Protoss with a box around it. Red Protoss in the top right of Benzene, going up against our anonymous human Schnell as the yellow Protoss in the bottom left. So let's see what we have. Another Protoss versus Protoss here. So we'll see what we've got going. We've got a similarly timed pylon from both, as well as going up to 9 supply. Pylon finishes, and 10th pylon is started, or probe is started rather. So we have a gateway and a gateway from both players here, and the scout from the AI, with Schnell deciding to scout a bit later. No real need to scout super early on a 2-player map, as you know where your opponent is. We got a little bit of worker harassment here going on, but Schnell handling it pretty well. The AI's probe getting a little bit tripped up by the minerals there. Now we do have a cybernetics core coming down, so it looks like we've got 1 gate core from Schnell. Gonna go ahead and another pylon, and we've also got a 1 gate core from the AI as well, though the core is a little bit later than the humans. But we've got 1 zealot out already now. I think we've got 2 zealots out now for the human. Gonna get a 2nd zealot for the AI as well. And the human is able to start his dragon just a little bit sooner with that quicker finishing cybernetics core, but ramp is pretty well blocked up here by the AI. Now we've got, let's see here, we've got range started by both, so pretty similar builds from the two right now, though the AI is up a pylon compared to Schnell. And now we're getting a 2nd gateway from the AI, so I wonder if this is in a 3rd gateway. We have a 4th gateway, so it looks like we've got a 4 gate coming up from the AI here this time against Schnell. Schnell gonna go ahead and poke in, see if he can do anything here, and sees that he's outnumbered, so gonna go ahead and pull back. Gonna bring this Dragoon up towards the front, but taking some hits here, which is gonna weaken his Zealots more. Able to take a Zealot or 2. Yep, able to get the 2nd Zealot as well. But ultimately gonna have to pull back. Meanwhile, the first wave of 4 Dragoons is finishing up for the AI, gonna chase all the way back to the ramp, and this is something that I like to see from the human player here. He is actually using the ramp and the high ground to his advantage, which is something that we often see AIs not do. They would have continued to try and fight along the way, taking unnecessary hits, or even try to pull the reinforcements that came up into this choke here to fight or something like that. But instead, taking the high ground, recognizing I am outnumbered at the moment, maybe not recognizing it's a 4 gate yet at this point, but knowing, you know what, I need the high ground to my advantage. Now he did go Reaver, so gonna go ahead and try to move down, but sees the large number of Dragoons, quickly backs off, lets the Reaver get some hits in there. Very nice. Gonna go ahead and position that Reaver so that way his shots won't be interfered with by the Dragoons. Another Dragoon falls. Ooh, nice. There's 3. Oh, very nice. Getting some nice damage there from the Reaver shots. Very well worth the minerals here. Trying to push back to clear this, so that Reaver getting pretty exposed. Gonna lose that Reaver, unfortunately only getting 1 shot off. The AI sensing that it can maybe break through now, gonna go ahead and back off. getting some nice shots on that Dragoon before it gets pulled back, though. So now I'm going to go ahead and get a third gateway, because you're going to need some more units to be able to bust out of this. Meanwhile, the AI nicely is expanding at its natural. Going to poke in a little bit here more, just to try and see if he can break through. Picks off the weak Dragoon. But now the Reaver finishes just in time, able to push back this force. Again, just having a ton of trouble dealing with this tight ramp here. Ooh, a nice shot there. Looks like it maybe only damaged 1 or 2, though. Another shot, just the Reaver's doing a lot of work here in keeping Schnell alive. Schnell just tries to kind of build up to break this. Meanwhile, because the AI is starting to expand and starting to spend money in some other places, the Dragoon count is starting to fall a little bit here for the AI. So now we've got 2 Reavers up front. Nice shot there, taking some out, and now the Dragoon's able to filter out. Whew, that Reaver living with 5 life. Maybe could have taken even just 1 shot at it to take it out. Now the AI trying to push back to this choke, but not able to. There's just too many Dragoons there. The supply is pretty even at this point, so Schnell's going to be able to get his natural up and start getting a bit more even in the economy with the AI. We do have a Citadel of a Dune, so we might see maybe some Dark Templar, which may not be the best choice, given that Schnell did go Reavers. It's not a far leap to go ahead and get your Observers, so you might as well anyway. And as we can see, Schnell has done that, as we do have an Observer up here. But we are getting the Templar Archives now, so we'll either see maybe some High Templar or Archons, or those Dark Templar. Meanwhile, we are getting the Reaver, the Scarab damage upgrade, rather. And getting another Observer here. More Dragoons are being pumped out by the AI, and we are getting a Dark Templar. So we are going to try something that probably will not work too well with the Observers that are out. Schnell trying to get a feel for the situation, see what's going on, sending out this Observer. Okay, looks like that is the second Observer there for Schnell. The Dragoon's trying to poke in and see what's going on. Just taking some unnecessary hits, though, to do so. Now we are going to have some of the Reaver shuttles here. Nice engagement here. The AI just not... very nice Reaver shots there. I mean, the AI just not getting a good concave, really, and the Dragoons just kind of stumbling into each other. And now... oh, some Dark Templar do sneak by. The Observer is on the way, though. Lots of probes falling there. I think that was almost all of the probes in the natural. One does manage to get away. Very nice by the AI. That's going to hurt Schnell a bit, but Schnell still having the larger army here. Going to go ahead and press that advantage and move forward. Meanwhile, the AI has taken the bottom right while all of this has transpired. As well as, it looks like now taking a 4th down towards the bottom, toward the middle, but on the right side. But Schnell just pressing his army advantage right now, pushing the AI all the way back to its natural. Did see some of those probes going down, so maybe suspects that something is up, but nice concave there by the human. The AI just should not be fighting here, should be retreating back a little bit further, but did get a nice little side attack there, but just not going to be enough. A little bit of a pincer, but just the sheer numbers for Schnell are enough to overcome it. I think this natural is going to fall. We do have a couple of Archons now, or at least one out. Excuse me. And it looks like Schnell is going to go ahead and take this natural down. Meanwhile, behind this, Schnell is expanding over here to a 3rd, which is good to see. Gonna go ahead and up our mineral, because minerals right now are where Schnell's hurting, so there's no need to expand further away to the gas. You just need some minerals here. Gonna go ahead and then take out the Dark Templar that tried to come here. Now we do have Arbiter's Hex, so that could cause some problems for Schnell. He does have the Observers out, but you do need the Observers in the proper place to deal with that. The main is mined out for the AI at this point. Schnell still has minerals here at his main. Oh, okay, that must have been the cannons dealing with the pylon there, I believe. The shots I was hearing in the distance. Schnell going down to take out this bottom right base now. No need to press into the main. Doesn't have the army to go for the kill per se in wiping out the main, but can take out the economy of the AI. The AI just very uncertain on what to do, thinking about saving that base, but then deciding not to. Snail getting a decent army, second army at home as well from the macro. Going ahead, taking out that bottom right base. The AI now moving across here, going to maybe take out the third. But Snail trying to take a fourth here, so actually it looks like the AI may be positioning itself to attack that. Meanwhile, Snail is attacking the only mining base for the AI down here at the bottom. The AI sends a small, so it has split up its army. Some of it is trying to take out this top left here, but oh no, retreating through the enemy, taking a lot of hits and losses, but does end up saving this bottom base here. Did pull reinforcements from the main, I believe, down to that to save it. The Arbiter, though, just kind of sitting here, not really helping with anything. Could be moving with the main army, but is not for some reason. Gonna go ahead and try to poke in there to that top left base again. Just finds that he can't take it out, so gonna go ahead and have to back out here. Trying to retreat while getting a few shots off, and the Arbiter just barely surviving that. 13 hit points, but getting chased back. Just doesn't have 10 probes, doesn't have the money to really keep up an army production, while also trying to retake its expansions. I think all of its money right now is going into army, when really it needs to just kind of try to stay alive and reestablish a base or two. But Snail in a very good position right now. Very nice army composition. Rather, going to go ahead and attack this bottom base here, take it out. The last mining base for the AI. And with that down, there's only this army left for the AI. Gonna go ahead and attack this top left base here, but nice cannon's gonna go ahead and get destroyed, but really Snail just has to get his army up there. Cutting off the retreat path as well with the approach. And the AI trying to retreat but not able to do so, losing the rest of its army. Except for a few scattered dragoons here and there. Yeah, looking a bit like the Protoss in the first campaign mission, where their forces are scattered and battered, but trying their best. Although I don't think it's going to turn out the same way that it does in the campaign. And then Snail, regrouping a little bit here, repelled the final push by the AI. The AI just not really having anything that it can do at the moment. Still issuing orders somewhere, though, with that 900 APM. I don't know what orders they're issuing, though. We go ahead and engage. The AI is going to go ahead and fall back, and at this point, it is just clean up for Snail. Going to go ahead and push in, clean up the few remaining structures. Very well played by the Snail human here. Getting contained but not panicking, and just getting the Reavers to push the 4-gate Dragoons back, and then as the AI transitioned out of from the 4-gate into a more economical situation here, that allowed Snail to break out with his army, since that's all he could spend money on at the time. And the anonymous AI goes ahead and taps out and gives the GG. And I'd like to thank you so much for being here for this cast and for all of the other casts that you attend. I hope you have a good one and stay safe, everyone.
Awaken, my child, and embrace the glory that is your birthright. Know that I am the Overmind, the eternal will of the Swarm, and that you have been created to serve me.